Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by incompetence or ignorance. This simple principle, which is also known as Hanlon's razor, is not only helpful for explaining everyday situations, like, for example, why someone cut you off on the road or why some dog in your neighborhood has left its mark on your front lawn again, it can also help you a lot when writing a story. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Oh, and don't get hung up on the word never, by the way. Of course, not only in your story but also in real life, people do sometimes make decisions out of malice. And you should absolutely also have characters make decisions out of malice, just not all of them. So let's get back to Hanlon and how you can use it for your story. Yes, in its idea, Hanlon's razor serves as a reminder to approach situations with both empathy and understanding, giving others the benefit of the doubt before assuming malicious intent. It encourages a more charitable interpretation of people's actions and promotes goodwill and cooperation, specifically in interpersonal relationships and social interactions. However, when applying it to writing, you should think about it from a different perspective. Don't give every decision a character makes, and that impacts other characters negatively, a malicious intent. Warning, massive spoiler for the Game of Thrones series incoming. If you've never heard of The Red Wedding, then you should probably rather stop right here. You have been warned. So as I just gave you that spoiler warning, let's look at an example from the Game of Thrones series. The decisive moment that kicks the events of the Red Wedding into gear is Robb Stark's decision to marry Talisa. In the books, he marries Jane Westerling, but for this example I'm going to stay with Talisa. That's also why the spoiler warning was for the Game of Thrones series and not for A Song of Ice and Fire. Anyway, Robb decides to marry Talisa even though he has already been pledged to marry a daughter of Walder Frey to secure the crossing of the Riverlands for the Stark army. Robb does arrange for one of Walder Frey's daughters to be married off to Edmure Tully, but even though Walder Frey asked for this as a compensation, he still sees it as a massive downgrade. I mean, after all, his daughter was going to marry a king. And as an act of revenge, he conspires with the Lannisters and orchestrates the Red Wedding. Now, Robb doesn't willingly marry Talisa out of spite towards Walder Frey. He marries her out of love. But by doing this, he betrays his alliance with House Frey, thus leading to him and his mother being killed and the North to lose in the War of the Five Kings. This decision showcases his incompetence when it comes to strategic alliances, just like his beheading of Lord Karstark earlier in the series, which leads to half of his army marching off. However, we as an audience do not perceive Robb Stark to be an incompetent person, because his strategic decisions on the battlefield outshine his other decisions. Up until his death, that is, of course. Another way you can use Hanlon's razor for your story is in its exact opposite, where a character mistakenly attributes an action to incompetence without actually seeing the bigger picture. A brilliant example of this, and by the way one of my favourite scenes in a movie, is when Captain Jack Sparrow steals the Interceptor in The Curse of the Black Pearl. Together with William Turner, Jack sneaks across the seafloor using an upside-down jolly boat to breathe, the physics of which make no sense at all, unless both of them have the strongest arms in human history, as the buoyancy would undoubtedly push them up. But I'll let that one slide. Anyway, they sneak across to the Dauntless, large ship of the line, board it and take it under their control. Commodore Norrington sees this and calls the actions brash. He knows that the Dauntless cannot be crewed by only 2 men, but assumes Captain Jack Sparrow's incompetence. He gets the Interceptor ready, the fastest ship in the entire Caribbean, excluding the Black Pearl of course, and chases after them. It doesn't take long for him to catch up. Whilst Norrington and his men search every cabin aboard the Dauntless, Jack and Will swing their way across to the Interceptor and steal it. knowing that the interceptor can be crewed by 2 men. Norrington notices this and tries to stop them by destroying the interceptor with a Dauntless, but Jack and Will had destroyed the Dauntless rudder, thus leaving it unable to turn. He is without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever seen, turns into that has got to be the best pirate I've ever seen. Norrington made the mistake of assuming Captain Jack Sparrow's incompetence because of the way he acted, talked, and his general demeanor, without actually realizing that Captain Jack Sparrow was acting with meticulously planned malicious intent and strategic genius. So, what can you take away from this video? Make sure you make your character's decisions multi-dimensional. Give them depth and different angles. Have your other characters, and especially your audience, either wonder about a motive behind a decision, or leave your audience hanging about a decision's consequences like George R.R. Martin did with the Red Wedding. And to achieve this, Hanlon's razor is a brilliant model you can implement. And of course, if you like this video, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you next time.